Hello, and thank you for watching this Ag Forecast, brought to you by Agrible, the makers of Morning Farm Report. My name is Eric Snodgrass, and I am Senior Atmospheric Scientist and co-founder of Agrible. Well, I want you to see this map, which is produced by the Storm Prediction Center, showing you the risk for severe weather on April 2nd, 2017. You see, on Sunday, we had very strong southerly flow coming out of the Gulf of Mexico, bringing in some very unstable air that was going to collide with a front that was moving across parts of Louisiana into Mississippi. The wind shear in this environment was ideal for strong rotating thunderstorms, which produced tornadoes. And as of late in the evening on Sunday, we had already had 7 reports and well over 100 reports of strong winds and hail as well. The Storm Prediction Center issued a high risk for severe weather, which is quite rare. So as we look at these maps throughout the rest of this summer and the rest of this spring, please remember that high risk days are very rare. We typically see maybe 5 or 6 of them throughout the entire year. So those storms, as they came through, really lit things up. This is a lightning animation showing you where the most recent strikes were as of the recording this video late on Sunday night. In total, there were over 19,000 lightning strikes on this map. And so this was a very, very active night for severe weather. Now, what I want you to pay attention to is where the bulk of these thunderstorms are going across the country, because even though we're down here in the southern Mississippi River Valley, there's a lot of ag down here that we have to pay attention to. And what has me concerned is this animation. You see, what you're watching here is that group of thunderstorms moving across Louisiana and Mississippi. And what they're doing toward the end of the animation is what we in atmospheric sciences call training. That's where thunderstorms follow one another. So check this out. You can see the thunderstorms coming right up out of the Gulf of Mexico, southern Louisiana, slamming into that line you saw earlier. Here it is again. And where they collide, they continue to kind of traverse over the exact same location for quite some time. Now, why we need to care about this is because we just saw 4, 5, maybe 6 inches of rain falling right in through this area, and that is an area where we grow a lot of corn early in the season, as well as a lot of soybeans. So we're talking about flooding out fields down here that have their crop in. So this is an important thing to be looking at. Now, since we're talking about heavy rains, I want to take you back over the last week in terms of precipitation. So the map you're looking at here is valid as of early in the morning on Sunday, April 2nd. And what you see here is that a big section of Kansas, Oklahoma, and northern Texas saw better than 2 inches of rain out of all that nasty weather the central part of the country got last week. And why this is so important is that, well, one, there was some drought that's been there all winter long. Now, the latest drought monitor, which came out on March 28th, actually had data valid for it only through that Tuesday. So what we're not seeing here is these heavy rains reflected in this drought monitor map. So I would expect to see some of this drought area whittled away when the new update comes out later on this week. But I want to also show you this. We're looking at wheat acres, and clearly that rain hit a part of the country where we grow a lot of winter wheat. And so we got to be watching for how these yields change in response to all that precipitation. Let's get into the forecast. Here's the outlook from the Storm Prediction Center for severe weather on Monday, April 3rd. And basically that whole system translates to the east, lighting up down here in the southern or southeastern part of the country. So we grow a lot of peanuts down here and cotton. So we got to be on the lookout for how those industries might be affected. So this is just the translation of that system on off in that direction. But in bigger picture news for kind of the corn and soybean part of the country, where we grow a lot of corn and soybeans, look at this map. This shows you the total accumulated precipitation through next Monday morning, April 10th, as projected by the GFS model. Now, what I see when I look at this is that a big section of the Corn Belt, parts of Ohio, parts of Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, Iowa, and Missouri, even parts of Kansas, a little bit of Nebraska, are getting quite a bit of precipitation. So we got to step back and see what's causing this. So let's do this. Here's an animation that goes out until next Monday, which shows us each of these weather systems coming across the country. Now, once this starts back over, we're going to see our first system here. This is on Monday going across Illinois toward Michigan. You can see it's quickly followed by another system that goes through Illinois, dumping quite a bit more rain here. So let's slow this down and take a closer look at what's going on. First, here goes the first system after dumping quite a bit of rain in this part of the country early in the week. This map is valid around noon on Tuesday, April 4th. At that time, a second system gets going out here, kind of in the Oklahoma and Texas Panhandle area, and watch what it's going to do as it moves here. By the time we get into late Wednesday night, we're dumping rain on that same area again. But it's after this system passes that I think we have another concern. You can see that as I click forward here, you'll see that, wow, they're starting to throw in some blue coloring representing some snow. Now, I don't know if we're going to get snowing through this area. It's a little bit too early to tell. But what the model's picking up on, though, which is what's important, is that a lot cooler air is going to be wrapping around the back side of this low on what will be some very, very strong winds. Look how closely spaced together the isobars are. So by the time we get into Thursday around noon, and that low pressure system is moving toward the Great Lakes, some very windy northerly or northwesterly flow in much of the Corn Belt with potentially cold enough temperatures, maybe to cause some snow, mainly in Michigan. Now, this is what it looks like to see the temperatures early in the morning on Thursday. And I bring this up because we're going to see below freezing temperatures in the northern Corn Belt. All right, now that's not uncommon this time of year, but look, we're going to be in the lower to mid 30s, getting way down here, pretty far south. By the time Friday morning arrives, look at this. From Minnesota to Wisconsin, Iowa, and Illinois, and Michigan, we're going to see temperatures right there around the freezing mark. Again, the typical mean date for the last frost of the year for central Illinois is somewhere around April 15th. So this is not uncommon, but boy, got a lot of guys trying to get in the fields early through all these rain showers, but we're seeing some cold temperatures creep back in. So let's go to that map I accidentally clicked to a moment ago. Here we're looking at now the next 32 days of precipitation anomalies, which are differences from normal, as forecast by the ECMWF, which is more commonly called the European model. We're still seeing that active storm track, and a lot of this is being contributed over the next 5 or 6 days, but active storm track right here, basically from Texas through the Ohio River Valley. So keep a very close eye on this. This Climate Prediction Center gives this same area equal chances with above average precipitation down here. And there's a bit of a discrepancy between the European model and the CPC with the precipitation here in the northern part of the country. You can kind of see here not picking up on too much of a wet pattern while the CPC is. Let's transition to temperatures quickly as we finish our video. What you're seeing is that over the month of April, with the exception of basically the northwest and the northeast, a lot of the Corn Belt will be seeing average to slightly above average temperatures on the whole. That does not mean that every day will be warmer than normal, but that's what we're seeing in the overall pattern. This is agreed upon pretty closely by what the Climate Prediction Center says, although the European model does have it cooler in the northeast. Well, that's a lot to digest in one video, but we at Agrible want to thank you for your attention. We hope you look forward to our next Ag Forecast. Thank you.